Yes, good afternoon, good evening, Harlem. This is Harlem Network News, and we are pre-recording, but you will join us. It does take a village. I'm Terri Wisdom, and I am your host for today. As many of you know, Harlem Network News is a new media platform. We started at the onset of COVID, and we're still here. uh, we knew when we started Harlem Network News that the work we were doing is important, but it's become more important than what we knew. At the onset of COVID, we jumped in the deep water and we started Harlem Network News. And part of the reason for starting it, something we have been thinking about for a long time. My background is in media, film, and television. However, at the onset of COVID, Black people were running around Harlem and they were saying, I'm Black, I can't get it. And I was like, okay, we got to get in there and make sure that people are informed. And of course, at a point, we're seeing no PPE, we're seeing body bags coming in, and then people, understood what it was. But I think initially, because people did not see themselves on television or their stories, that's why they were thinking, I'm Black, I cannot get it. Right. So just a very key point, that it's important that our stories be reported and that we tell our own stories and that we speak truth to power. And that is what Harlem Network News is all about. We are the voice and the drumbeat of Harlem. And often some of the major networks, we have a New York one, but a lot of our stories do not get covered unless there's, gunshot or something of that nature. So it's important. Knowledge is power. And that's all I can say. I also cannot start this show without just giving condolences and prayers for all of the horrific mass murders that have taken place, starting with Buffalo, going to Uvalde, Texas, going to Tulsa, and it continues. It really has to stop. I lost my own son to gunshot on November 5th of 2021. So this is now personal. It's always been personal, but it's more personal. He was shot, really assassinated on the Shinnecock Reservation in Long Island. And of course, his crime is not solved because when you're Black, you pretty much have to solve your own crimes. The state police, I implore them, congressmen and other people have reached out and are giving me support. I've also joined Harlem Mothers Save with Jackie Rowe Adams, and there are many members of Harlem Mothers Save. So a very critical situation. So the position of Harlem Network News, and I go on record, to say it doesn't matter if the AKA 47, law has been passed and you got to be 21. They need to take it off the market. It has no value. I don't care if you're 40 or whoever it is, it does not need to be there. And, if you really listen and understand, that gun, that bullet can, fire and shoot 30 people in 5 minutes. But also the way it shoots the people, the bullet goes in, it ricochets off bone and muscle tissue and tears up the person and then exits. So a lot of the children that were shot are unrecognizable. So I don't know what the discussion is, because as far as I'm concerned, common sense, as our grandparents would say, there is no discussion. So we're here today to really speak about Juneteenth. And I have some experts here, and they're going to really share about Juneteenth and their experience. I have here with us the coordinator of the Juneteenth committee, and that is the Juneteenth committee that is from the Masjid Malcolm Shabazz here in Harlem. as well as the assistant coordinator. And I'm sorry, the coordinator is Brother Ade Rasul. And I have the assistant coordinator here with us, and that is in the person of Sister Darlene Shamsiddin. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And they're going to share a little bit about what is Juneteenth. We'll have Brother Ade, and Juneteenth is now a national holiday. This has just occurred, and so actual Juneteenth is on Sunday, June 19th. It's always on June 19th. And it will be celebrated as a national holiday as per President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris on Monday, June 20th. But I want Brother Ade and Sister Darlene to really talk about what is Juneteenth, first of all, and then what your organization, the Masjid Malcolm Shabazz, because you all have been celebrating Juneteenth for 29 years. So, you know, what can I say? You know, Bo, Ashe, and all those accolades. But if you could just share with us, Brother Ade, what is Juneteenth? Why Juneteenth? What is its significance?
Okay, thank you so much, Terry, and I send my condolences to your family and to your son. I wasn't aware of that, and my prayers will go out for him. And I want to thank you for inviting us. And we encourage the Harlem Network News to continue to address issues of our community concerns that oftentimes other major media outlets do not want to address. I'm going to say something that I think is relevant and important, and that is that in this is our 29th year of doing the annual Juneteenth program. And in that 29th year, your television program network here has been one of the first ones that I've had an opportunity to sit down with and explain what we've been doing. So I want to congratulate you, salute you, and let you know that this is an historical first.
Yes.
All of the other media outlets have been avoiding us. And now, thank God that it's become a national holiday, a state holiday, a city holiday. Now the phone is ringing off the hook. But we're giving you priority because you was the one that reached out to us, and you on the ground. You're on the ground working with our community, and we respect all of your efforts. And we hope to deliver a clear message without holding any punches today in this broadcast. Again, my name is Ade Rasul, and I am the coordinator of the Juneteenth Committee of Historical Masjid Malcolm Shabazz. As I said, we've been doing this this program, Juneteenth effort, this is our 29th annual effort. We originally started out, Imam Watadi Muhammad, the son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Sister Claire Muhammad,
yes,
who took over the leadership of the Nation of Islam in 1975. He was the one that directed our historical mosque to participate in Juneteenth. And that was 29 years ago. And his interest was that we address that, pardon me, his concern was that we join a broader community in celebrating this effort. And that was significant because, as you know, based upon our history, our historical history, we've always stayed close ourselves. So this was a beginning breakthrough of us embracing the community. And so we have been marching to that drumbeat ever since. We never anticipated that the day would come like it has come. And I guess a little later on, we'll explain our feelings about that in terms of it now becoming a holiday and a national holiday, and et cetera, et cetera. But I think it would be good if Darlene would give us a history of what Juneteenth is and answering of your question, and then I'll follow up with some comments. So Darlene, please.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And for those of you who have just tuned in, I'm Terri Wisdom, and this is Harlem Network News. And it's a historic show. You heard it first on Harlem Network News, and we are here to speak about Juneteenth. And we have the coordinator of the Harlem Juneteenth program that has been going on for 29 years. And that is in the person of Brother Ade Rasul. And that is coming out of the Masjid Malcolm Shabazz, which is at 116th Street. And I thank you, Brother Ade, for your condolences for my son. And as we must do, I did not say his name, but his name is Ali Sam Wayman Wisdom. And he's 43 years old and had his first birthday in heaven on January 6th. And named after Muhammad Ali.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I wanted to share that. Thank you. And he lives on, and we continue to do this work.
So, darling, can you continue with the history?
Yes, thank you, Sister.
Okay. All right. And again, my condolences as well to your loss. And he's in my prayers and my husband's as well.
Thank you.
So Juneteenth, for those who mysteriously still don't know, in 1865 was the proclamation of freedom by President Lincoln. And the reason that we now celebrate Juneteenth is because of the fact that it took 2.5 years before the news actually had reached most of the United States, specifically in Galveston, Texas, where the slaves there were never told that they were free until 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, when the Union Army, who had been traveling the nation to announce the news, they reached Galveston and informed the slaves there that they were now free. And that happened in June of 2.5 years later. So it became a cause for celebration from that day on in that part of Texas, and then pretty much spread from there to the rest of the South, and eventually some parts of the North as well. But even up here in the North, a lot of people still don't know, or didn't know, at least up to now, what Juneteenth was all about. So by making it a national holiday, it's now something that everyone can understand, learn more about, and celebrate. And that's why we at Masjid Malcolm Shabazz have been celebrating it all these years, all these 29 years, to bring that understanding closer to more people throughout at least New York, if not the further reaches of the state and the country.
I think that's incredibly commendable. And I think here in Harlem, we really have known about Juneteenth because I believe that it was in Texas, as you said. So, sometimes the drumbeat doesn't travel, but you kept it alive and brought it so that we knew. And as most people know, here in Harlem, there are different occasions and our own holidays that we look forward to.
Right.
We have Kwanzaa at the Apollo. We have, Martin Luther King's birthday now, and the birthday of, Minister Malcolm El-Hajj Malik Shabazz, and then we have like Juneteenth, and we have Dance Africa. They're just, Harlem Week. They're just, the International African Arts Festival. Those are our holidays.
That's right.
Those are things we look forward to.
That's right.
Those are things we need to continue. And of course, the African American Day Parade, Imam, these are like significant holidays. And, people that live in Harlem and their children grew up here, those are the things we look forward to. Those are our things. So we appreciate you for just doing that. And I know that, I don't know if this is the right time to interject that, but I did pick up, Brother Ade, when you were speaking about the fact that you were keeping to yourself, but then, Imam Walid Muhammad, said we got to open up, branch out, and that was the coming of Juneteenth. So that's a very specific and special thing. And then I know that as you continued you joined up with the MLK
Yeah,
organization.
yeah,
And
I'm glad you brought that up.
yes, and that's very
That's
important.
very important in the early
Yes.
history.
Yes,
You know,
and it's even more important and significant to me because Brother Cliff Frazier is a
yes,
teacher, a mentor.
yes,
I,
beautiful.
you know, have a degree in journalism from Lincoln University, Fordham University, but
Beautiful.
I also attended the WNET Film and Television Workshop as well as Community Film Workshop, which Brother Cliff Frazier started.
Yeah,
So, you know, I know him personally.
yeah, nice,
We attend church together. We did
nice,
a show on Brother Cliff with
beautiful.
Woody King Jr. and, you know, but,
Nice.
and also Adrian Bass, who was one of his students who
Yeah.
worked at ABC 2020, did a film on the Patterson.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned his name,
Yeah,
you know, because he was, you know, this is a very interesting story because
yes.
originally we started doing the, when Imam Muhammad instructed us to join the national effort towards Juneteenth, we started there at the mosque on the Masjid mosque on 116th. So we started with a parade in Harlem, and we would end the parade in Marcus Garvey Park. And it just so happened that when we ended the first year of the parade, the Martin Luther King New York Support Group was actually having a program on the same day that we would do the parade in Marcus Garvey Park.
Okay.
It wasn't a Juneteenth program, but it was a Dr. Martin Luther King program.
Okay.
And so that's how we joined efforts. We joined efforts 29 years ago with Cliff and with that group, Fran Lucas, some of the pioneers that was actually with Dr. King. As a matter of fact, Fran Lucas and Ms. Robinson, they were the ones that sat with Dr. King's wife, Claretta, and had Malcolm. They knew Malcolm's stories and Dr. King's stories. So this was, we always saw it as a hallmark of Dr. King and Malcolm X coming together over Juneteenth.
Yeah.
And that's how we actually started.
Wow, that is powerful. Everything is very serendipitous.
That's right.
And,
that's right.
Cliff was an amazing person. And, you know, even at his homegoing and, you know, even now, here's a new story about him, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just an amazing thing. And
so his work goes on. He's not here with us physically, but his work is still going on.
The work continues. And the part that you spoke about in terms of Minister Malcolm and Dr. Martin Luther King last week on Harlem Network, and that's the first two. We had the youngest daughter, Sister Malak Shabazz, and she was speaking many, many volumes because she's very interested in making sure that people, her mother's birthday, Sister Betty Shabazz's birthday is remembered as well because she says, you know, she kept my father's legacy alive and look at all the greatness that my mother did. So, but in that, she spoke about when Dr. King and Minister Malcolm El-Hajj Malik Shabazz met when they were at Congress speaking, you know, and she says a lot, that was the first time of physical meeting. And it was, you know, just one of those moments where they were trying to have Minister Malcolm go out the back door. And he said, I'm going out the door I came in. And when he came out that door, there was Dr. King. And so, you know, they kind of met and, you know, she also shared that the wives were on a speaking tour. Sister Betty, you know, Miss Coretta, and also the wife of Merle
Evans.
Meg Evans.
That's right.
Miss Merle Edward. They were all together. She was like, we, all the children know each other. There's things, you know. So she said, that's what, you know, the white media does not talk about.
Right.
So it's important, you know, we get the stories and we get our own stories from our own people. So thank you very much. This is Harlem Network News, and I'm gonna let you continue, but I just had to keep Cliff Frazier's name alive. He's a very humble person, did a lot of work. So thank you. So what is, because I know this year, and I think, thank you, Sister Darlene, that was a great explanation of Juneteenth and why and how, and we know that in all other parts of the country, there are big Juneteenth celebrations. There's
Yeah.
You know, the Queen of Juneteenth, you know, there's all kinds of things which I've, you know, seen when I've looked in the history books. But what is the theme um, for Juneteenth this year? And I know there's a mission statement and the vision statement for Juneteenth this year. And is it the same every year or is specific to this year?
Yeah, it's the theme is the same every year.
Okay.
And the reason why is because when I get to repeating it, you can see why. It's not going to ever go old. It's
Okay.
not going to ever be irrelevant. It's very relevant and appropriate to our people. And the theme is ethnic excellence within the African American family. Ethnic excellence within the African American family. And so we need to continue to build our family structure, continue to build our families, because if our families is good, they will expand into the community and the community will become good. And as a result, our people and our nation and our image around the world will become good. You know, so ethnic excellence within the African American family. Our mission statement is to celebrate, educate, and commemorate the African American struggle for freedom, justice, and equality in America. And our vision statement, you'll see a connection here, is to inspire our community where African Americans will remain
Reclaim.
to inspire our community where African Americans will reclaim our dignity, honor, and respect in America and throughout the world in the areas of education, business, health, culture, and government. These are all of the primary streams that build a strong community, and we wanted to make sure that we touch base with all of those streams. So as you can see, our theme, our mission statement, our vision statement will never grow old. You know, it's always alive and is always active.
Mhm. Okay. Well, thank you very much for that. And I think it speaks volumes to what we need to do, where we need to be, how we need to do it. You know, I, as a mother, as a grandmother of four, I'm extremely concerned. My oldest granddaughter is 22 and just graduated Sahara from Howard University. My son's son, Messiah, is at Howard University. And then there are two youngers. He's 19 and I have 16 and 11. But I'm very concerned because it is a war for the minds of our children, you know, when it comes to what the music is and, you know, what the video games are, what the social media is, and really just having tools and things to reach out to them so that they can really know their history and know who they are. It's
Beautiful.
critical. It's
Yeah,
critical.
and the family is so key, you know, and this is why we putting a lot of emphasis on our Juneteenth celebration on the rebuilding of our families. Many of the issues that are going on in our community is a result of the lack of strong families. And so we want to put a tremendous emphasis every year in our Juneteenth on building strong families that are models for our community.
Okay, thank you. Very well said, very important, and it gets to the core. So if either one of you can share what's going to go on this year. I know your celebration is on Saturday the 18th.
Right.
And what are some of the activities? What time do they start? How can people participate? Thank you.
Okay, so the parade itself will start at 11 o'clock at 116th Street and Malcolm X Boulevard. And then we will parade through a part of Harlem up to 8th Avenue, Frederick Douglass Boulevard, and then up to 125th Street,
Okay.
across that to back to Malcolm X Boulevard and back down to 116th. Once we get back there, then the street festival will begin, which is on the 116th block between 5th and Malcolm X Boulevard, that entire block. And it'll be full of activity for all ages including vending. We have lots of street vendors who will set up for the day, for the afternoon. Youth activities, which include the usual things you might want for kids, like a basketball tournament and double Dutch tournament. But
Okay.
it will also include a lot of educational, especially for the younger kids. We will do storytelling by Black authors who
Nice.
author children's books. And they'll take small groups of the children and read stories to them, do a little face painting for them if they like. So we want to make sure it's fun for the younger set as well as the middle set of ages,
Mhm.
so they enjoy and learn at the same time. And then there'll also be a big tent. We have 3 stages, actually. We have a big tent stage where we will give awards out to the grand marshals of our parade, who Ade will speak to shortly. And
Yes.
and then we have those political supporters who come out, which he'll tell you about as well.
Great.
They
Thank you.
they will all probably have something to say as well. And then after they're done with that, then we will have entertainment of all types, not just, music, but also we'll be doing hopefully poetry readings, a little historical, the talks about the same things that Ade mentioned, that we want to focus on: education, business, and etc. And then in the other 2 stages, we will have some music, jazz, Afrocentric music, things like that. And then for the teenage set and those who are into hip hop, we have one of our main sponsors who are always with us, the Rough Rider group.
Okay. I
They
love
have their own stage for their own types of music that they'll focus on during that afternoon.
it.
And
Okay.
I'm sure there's a day can add more to that.
Okay. Well, it looks like there's something for everyone.
That's right.
And
Yeah,
it
try to
looks
make
like
sure.
it's also intergenerational, which is very important. So thank you
Absolutely.
very much, Sister Darlene and Brother Ade.
Yeah, I don't want Darlene did an excellent job, but I don't want us to lose focus on the parade. Now, we
Okay,
know
yes,
there's a lot of Juneteenth activities that are going on, and we've partnered with different groups where we all agreed, particularly the Harlem groups, that the parade is for everybody. So no matter what you're doing in the Schaumburg or any other historical site on that day, we're encouraging everybody to have representation in the parade, and then we
okay,
can disperse out to our various venues. So we're not about just our venue. We're about
right,
promoting as many venues in Juneteenth as possible, but we want the
okay,
common thread to at least be the parade. That should be the common thread. And this year's parade is going very well. And if I can give a plug in, we do need a gospel group. Yes,
okay,
I'm a Muslim talking about a gospel group, but that's what Juneteenth is all about. It crosses all
okay,
religions,
yeah,
we're not about
interreligious,
tribalism. We're
yes,
about coming together and being well represented
Right.
on every aspect of our diaspora. So the bottom line is that we're asking everyone to come out and support the parade and take advantage of this holiday coming up. Now that it appears to be 3 days.
okay, all right. Well, that's amazing. And as you said, the parade will start at 11. It starts from 116th. You're going to walk across the Frederick Douglass, up Frederick Douglass to 125th Street, and then across 125th. Will you be stopping at the state office building, or you'll just keep moving
No, because our main program is at 116th
at
Street and Malcolm X
116th Street?
Boulevard.
Okay,
And we need to get back there so that we
it's
can
the
begin with the
program.
formal program.
Absolutely. And I
Now,
understand.
mind you, I must, since you mentioned that, we did that when COVID started because they
Right.
wouldn't
Yes,
allow
that's
us.
what I
Yeah,
remember.
so
That's what I remember.
they wouldn't allow us to do the parade. Remember, the mayor cut out
Right.
all of the parades. But
Yes. Yes.
thank God we continue. We never missed a beat. What we did is that we had a march
Hmm.
because they was having a lot of marches going on. So we said,
Right.
why can't you give us a permit for a march, even
Right.
though it was
Right.
in the spirit of Juneteenth? So
Yes.
we didn't have all of the street festivals, that year, but we had a major talk by our Imam Pasha the
Yes,
imam of
yes,
historical
yes,
Masjid Shabazz. He gave
right,
a major talk at Harlem State Office Building. So
right,
that's the year that we only did that, only because we didn't have the
right.
street
Yes,
festival.
I remember that, and we were there. And now that you
Yes,
said it, I have a vision. The stage was on the side, and
beautiful. That's right. That's
yeah,
it.
it was amazing. So that's what
Yeah.
made me ask that question. But this is a parade. This is a real parade.
Yep.
There are floats, I
Floats and
understand.
bands.
Yeah, bands. It ain't
Okay,
no funeral now.
okay.
You know,
Floats, bands.
it's a
Okay,
joyous occasion. It's a
I
very
love
joyous
it.
occasion.
I love it. I love
Trying to be symbolic of the spirit in Galveston, Texas, when the slaves first found out about how they were free. After 3 harvests, they begin to read a book, because you know it was illegal to read a book then.
it. Right.
And if you in our logo for Juneteenth, we changed our logo to be more in tune and in line with what our ancestors during that time period wanted. So one of the major logos that we're promoting this year, we're giving you a heads up ahead of time, your listening audience, is
Okay.
that we started with the chain, the fist
Breaking of the
and the
chain.
chains, right? And we gave that, we didn't trademark that. We gave that out for 29 years. Now most people are still using that symbol, which is okay. But we have an actual slave and a family in the field. Once they heard about slavery, we have a slave leaning on a plow, reading a book.
Okay.
And then we have a vision over his head of what he's thinking about. And he was thinking about those 5 areas that I had mentioned to you earlier. And those 5 areas are education, business, health, culture, and government. So he has a vision for what our people would be moving into that he probably will not even live to see. And sure enough, that vision is coming true. We ain't quite there yet, but we on our way.
Okay. I love it. I love it. And you all are a part of the On Our Way and moving forward. So I'm very inspired. This is Harlem Network News, and we are talking about the Juneteenth event that is going to take place Saturday. There's a parade, and this is all coming out of the Masjid Malcolm Shabazz at 116th right here in Harlem. And I guess we know there's going to be a parade, and then the parade is going to come back, start at 116th, make the Harlem Circle, come back to 116th, and then the program will begin. They have 3 stages. It's going to be children's activities and Afrocentric jazz and all of that, as well as the Rough Riders who are coming out of the hip hop scene. So there's really something conscious and cultural for everyone. But I would like to know about the Grand Marshals. And first of all, what is a Grand Marshal? Because here at Harlem Network News, we want to make sure that everyone is informed. So
Beautiful.
Try not to say things, just throw it out there and nobody knows what we're talking about.
Beautiful.
Thank
Yeah, I'm glad you asked about the Grand Marshal. So we have done something different. As I have mentioned earlier, our theme is the excellence of the African American family.
Okay.
And so our Grand Marshals are the heroes and sheroes that never get recognized. They're not the ones that's always on a TV camera, always in the newspaper. They're not the ones that that gets the attention. They're not the what you call the common leaders based upon popular opinion. They are the moms and pops that are in the community that do things for God's sake, for the love of the community, and they never hardly get recognized. And so our Grand Marshals that's going to be leading us are community folks that have been in service to the community and don't do it because they want attention. They do it because of their love of their people. For example, one of our Grand Marshals is Mr. Billy Mitchell, also known as Mr. Apollo.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
he's one of our Grand Marshals. For those who might not know, Billy Mitchell started as a young man running errands in the Apollo for big time entertainers. And as a result of running errands for big time entertainers, now he's one of the directors of the Apollo, director Amateur Night and etc. And so he is a Grand Marshal, for example. We have another lady, just give you an example, Miss Nancy Simmons. Some of y'all might know her. She works in Harlem Hospital. But her unique story is that she was born to parents that were both deaf.
Oh, wow.
So she learned how to sign before she learned how to talk. And as a result of her learning how to sign, she is part of a national alliance of Black interpreters. She started a group, a national group of sign language interpreters. And so she has a story to tell. And of course, you know, our sister, Ashatu Bey, our organizer, matter of fact, we thank her because it was her, she's the one that connected us with you, Ms. Terry, and
Yes.
allowed us to have this program. But she's one of the main players, and her family story is unique. So she's one of the ones that we given a family award to.
Okay.
So our whole
Yes.
family, you know, her son has done something that is very courageous in terms of fencing.
Absolutely.
You know, he's not only does he work with Columbia University in terms of their department for fencing, but he has made it to the National Fencing Association, and he's of Harlem and African American descent. And we wanted to make sure that our young people acknowledge that there is a way, and dignified way of becoming established here in America, and representing your people with honor and grace. And he's a good example of that for some of our young people. So those are the three families. We have two other families, but that's an example of who our grand marshals are. Heroes and sheroes of the community that have been working and don't necessarily do it to get recognized. They do it because of their love and their spirit for our people.
Yes, yeah, it's incredible, and I also want to thank my sister Isato Begrisha for connecting me with you. She knows the work I do. We raised our children together, and
Beautiful.
I know Akhenaten Spencer Ill very well. In fact, last Juneteenth, that was prior to because he had a few students in the Olympics, and one of his students, I think his name is Derek, actually, the way they celebrated Juneteenth, he goes to a juice bar, and I can't think of the name of it, but it's like right on 133rd, and it's a Black-owned juice bar. I think it's Rejuvenex or something like that. But he wanted everybody to come to the juice bar, and he sponsored everybody getting a healthy drink. And that was in celebration of Juneteenth, and Akhenaten Spencer Ill, and the Peter Westbrook, who has the Peter Westbrook Foundation that Aki started fencing out of. And it's important in terms of our children because, you know, Aki was also a member of the Harlem Little League, and my son was a big member of the Harlem Little League. They played together. But I remember at some point, his mother said, "You're going to fencing." And you know, sometimes with young people, he didn't want to go. And she said, "You going, get out there and you going to this fencing." And look what has happened. He has traveled the world. He has had he was in the Olympics himself. You know, so it's major. Peter Westbrook, who started it, he's a bronze medal Olympic winner. So, you know, it just shows that there are many things that our young people can do. And here he is teaching at Columbia. He's an amazing father of four. You know, his wife is amazing. You know, so these are our great Harlem stories that don't get told.
That's right. Beautiful.
On last year, Juneteenth, we had them on. So, you know, another Juneteenth story. That's a unique way, but they're young people, but that's what that's how he wanted to celebrate Juneteenth.
Beautiful. So we're true to our theme, you know,
Yeah.
ethnic excellence within the African American family.
Okay, so sounds wonderful. We're going to move along. We're moving through our time, and I know you all have some time constraints, and we want to make sure that we keep our audience engaged with Harlem Network News and information. But can you share a little bit about who the sponsors are and how they got involved, why they got involved, their relationship to your organization, and also if, I don't know for this year, but if folks are interested in becoming sponsors, what they need to do. And we're talking about, for those of you who are just tuning in, Juneteenth on 1/16 here in Harlem with the Masjid Malcolm Shabazz. Thank you. So if you could tell us a little bit about the sponsors, either one.
Okay. Well, again, I'm sure they can say some things that I won't know about necessarily, but One of our oldest and best supporters are the Baskin Robbins, Dunkin' Donuts, and Popeyes. They are right down the street. As a matter of fact, the same block where we're having the festival, they have locations there. And almost from the beginning, they have been with us in supporting us, getting a float. They always get a float in the parade themselves, and each of them. And also Masjid Malcolm Shabazz Development Corporation, which is one of the companies we have internally, also has a float and has supported the parade from the beginning. Then some of the other ones who came on a few years later and have stayed with us is L&M Construction, which is a Black-owned construction firm in the city. Rough Riders, as I mentioned earlier, and another construction company, Aleem Construction, also Black-owned and doing great work in the city. And the Woody Crest Center for Human Development, which is a school and a place for young people to learn. And they're located in the Bronx, but definitely always supports us. And their CEO is sitting on the screen. And
Okay, so another time we'll love to know more.
yes, you
about
need
that.
to know about the Woody Crest
Yes,
Center for
yes.
Human Development.
Absolutely.
And then we have Scan Harbor, which is new this year for a float, but also a supporter of ours. And Street Corner Resources
Okay.
has 3 floats in this
Okay,
parade.
I love it.
And their CEO is Miss Aisha Saiku,
Yes,
who is a big, you know her, I'm sure, and she's a big
Of
supporter
course.
of ours as well as of the Masjid community. And she has also been a community organizer forever as well. So she does great work.
Absolutely.
And we have other supporters as well, not necessarily the ones that have floats, but again, always support us financially and with help of any kind that that they can give us that when we need it. Ade, I'm gonna turn over to you to add on to that.
No, you did an excellent
Thank you.
job. You know, most
Thank
of our supporters, as you can see, come from the local community businesses and community CBOs, community-based organizations. Now, it's interesting because for 29 years, we've never gotten support from city, state, or federal government at all.
Right.
We've pulled our resources as one of our great leaders has told us to do, and we've managed to do what we had to do based upon our own bootstraps, so to speak. So that's not to say that we don't accept support and sponsorships, you know, from those areas. It's just that they have never stepped up to assist in helping us. So hopefully at our 30th anniversary next year, we might get a stronger support from city, state, government, and also large corporations. But we've been surviving and thriving without their support. And that's how that's the spirit we got to have as a community. You know, we got to continue to do what we need to do that require us to do to make our community successful, equipped or ill-equipped. We have to do what we have to do to be successful, because if we don't do it, nobody else will.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. And that's what's so commendable. This is Harlem Network News, and I'm Terri Wisdom, but that is what is so commendable about many of our highlighted events through the year, but particularly this Juneteenth event, and particularly the African American Day Parade. And once again, those are parades that and events that major media, for the most part, has always looked over. But you know, even though that was the case, you know, thousands of people come out.
Yes,
We
sir.
all know about it. It's an inside thing.
That's right.
And that's the beautiful thing.
Mhm.
You know, but the fact that we are doing our own things and we are celebrating ourselves. And that segues for me into the next question, because what are your thoughts? And I think you had kind of mentioned this in the beginning, Brother Ade. What are some of your thoughts and feelings now that Juneteenth is a national holiday?
You know, it's very interesting because I never thought in doing this work 29 years ago, be quite frank with you, I never thought, or I should say, I never envisioned it being a holiday in my lifetime, especially as you can see how very small support we've actually gotten over the 29 years. But, you know, that just go to show you that, you know, we're not in control of things, you know. God is in control of everything because I strongly believe that if it had not been for the pandemic, the COVID-19, the George Floyd incident, and a combination of other factors of our people engaging injustices, if it had not been that that storm, so to speak, of activities that existed, I think that gave inference or was a prelude, you know, to softening people's hearts and making people a little bit more sensitive to what our concerns were. And as a result of that, God is in control of everything, and He ushered it in. And I'm really grateful, and I hope people understand the perspective that I'm putting on this, because you know you work so hard and you think that you know you're the ultimate responsible person for what you do. But if you work real hard and do good, you know, and get your reward from your Lord, you don't know what the result's going to be. And it's ushered in according to God's time.
Right.
And I believe that this was ushered in according to God's time. And I'm not ungrateful. I'm very grateful. But now the ball is in our court. So now that we have the opportunity to not make excuses in regards to our emancipation, now we have to use this as an opportunity to do some of the things that our ancestors would want us to do in regards to strengthening ourselves as a people and reminding our young folks of our role and responsibility here in America. As a matter of fact, Imam Pasha, I want to thank him because he's a local imam from Masjid Shabazz, historical Masjid Shabazz, and he's the one that's really driving the committee. And he has an expression that made a lot of sense, and I just want to share with you that helped motivate me. You know, we got a couple of signs that we're going to have in the parade that's new this year, and it says, "We made America great." You know, everybody's talking about make America great, but we got to be reminded that we made America great.
Absolutely.
You know, so every Juneteenth is an opportunity to show how we have made America great and continue to make America great. You know, so again, I think that it was divine as to how it happened.
Yeah, because I'm not, I don't have the step by step. I need to do my little research, but what were the transactions that actually made it? Because I know there was conversation last year, and in New York City it was officially recognized, but do you know the steps that made it nationally recognized?
I think the George Floyd incident, George Floyd incident, COVID, let's not leave out, you know, the pandemic, you know, so God has a way of humbling some of the strongest of the strongest of thinking people. God has a way of influencing them, touching their hearts in ways that you and I, you know, we have no control over. But I think George Floyd, I think the movement on the street by a lot of our people in terms of, you know, calling for justice, the ones that was doing it in a positive way. And I think just the fact that people begin to realize that, you know, we help make America great.
Right.
So sometimes it take adversity for people to acknowledge that. And I think that they did it. And as a way of expressing it, God opened up their hearts and they decided that no longer are we going to resist, you know, this idea. They are part of the American fabric, and they deserve to be honored and appreciated.
And it's amazing, you know, like you said, it's God's work.
That's right.
You know, President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, you know, will go down in history in terms of making that happen. But it's a powerful thing, and I think for those in Texas who were really the forerunners to it, it's an amazing day, and it's amazing.
It's a tribute to them. It's a tribute.
So it's a tribute because they continued, and you know, they were maybe never thinking that it was going to be a national holiday. And I'm with you in terms of the pandemic, you know, because Harlem Network News is born out of the pandemic, out of
That's right.
And also, I always say, as for people of color, it's been a pandemic for over 400 years, and it the coming of the pandemic really took the scab off the wound, you know, so that people could see, look what's happening here. Look at the disparities in health.
That's
Look
right.
at the food insecurity.
Beautiful.
So people were already suffering, but when the pandemic came, it was even more evident. Look at no information. So people didn't even really know what was going on. We had several, you know, Harlem doctors that came on to really talk to the people, you know, to get them the information, you know, people that we thought could be, you know, had a trust factor. But like you said, out of this pandemic came much. And then, you know, all of the Black murders, George Floyd,
That's
and,
right.
you know, Breonna, you know, all these things happen. So it really brought it to the forefront, because without that, you know, pretty much people are looking at us like, well, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we're dealing every day, you know, driving while being Black every day,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and so it came to the forefront. And that part is a blessing, because once you identify something, then you can see what we need to do and how it can truly be addressed. And like you said, that it's a national thing, so that more people can understand, not just the ones
Right.
that it's happening to. So thank you for that. So we're going to begin to wind down. I thank you all for taking the time. I'm honored. And I wanted to know, are there any protocols for how to celebrate Juneteenth?
No, I don't think that there's any protocol, but I encourage people to study the history of when the slaves in Galveston, Texas, when they heard about their freedom and how, you know, they were free legally for 2.5 years. Well, I think we need to follow their example and what they did. You know, they didn't waste time in foolishness.
Okay.
You know, like I said, they began to do the picture that we have of a slave leaning over a plow reading a book. They begin to take their lives into their own hands now and begin to seriously contemplate how they're going to survive as a people now that they're in bondage is no longer a factor. You know, so we're encouraging people to use that day to be positive in terms of the things that they do, and let's not waste a day. For example, if I can just say, you know, it is our hope and prayers that Juneteenth will not become another holiday for shopping or material gain.
Yes.
It is our hope. It is our hope and prayers that Juneteenth day off from work don't become a day for people to sleep all day, rest, do chores, or just party. You know, something came to my desk yesterday where they was having a roof. I'm not going to mention the name, but they was
Okay.
advertising a rooftop party on Friday. Skip work and come to the Juneteenth rooftop party
Wow.
in a
Wow.
bar. You know,
Wow.
so our hope and prayers is that Juneteenth day will become a great day of action, celebration, and reflection on the best hopes and vision of our ancestors who endured slavery in America and prayed for the day of their freedom. And the day of true freedom, pardon me, where opportunities for established community life will be available to our people. Almighty God has answered their prayers that day and is now, has answered their prayers for that day. And now we ask everyone to join us to continue bringing our ancestors' vision into reality.
I thank you for that. I think we can't say more than that. It's very critical. And especially for our young people to really understand it. And that's why Harlem Network News is so important um, in terms of just reaching out to the people, and especially to the young people, so that they can know who they are, whose they are, and continue to move forward. And like you said, not with the quote nonsense, you know, because that's not the, the people that died for it, you know, came across the water.
That's right.
It's blasphemous for it to be anything else.
Yes.
So thank you. Sister Darlene Shamsiddin,
Mhm.
if you have any closing remarks or thoughts.
I think Ade really summed it up great. I just would like to give a couple shout outs to some more of our supporters, because like I said, we had
Thank
quite
you.
a few. And just to mention some of the politicians who have supported us over the years, especially Senator Cordell Clear, who
Okay.
is our senator in the Albany, New York.
Yes, State Senator Cordell.
Yes, she is one of the strongest supporters we've had politically. She was started as a district leader in Harlem, and now she's
Yes.
in the state senate, and
Mhm.
she's doing great work there as well. So Charles Rangel, who's retired now, but
Yes.
a great supporter for us,
Thank you.
and Judge Tanya Kennedy.
Mhm.
And then there's a couple, and there's more of them, but there's also so the hospitals, Mount Sinai Hospital and Harlem Hospital have been very supportive. They always send people to set up the health tables at the festival to help the community and give out information and even do testing, medical testing there. Dr. John Palmer, who's is or was, I'm not sure if he still is, the president of Harlem Hospital, has been a
Yes, yes.
marshal. We had him as a grand marshal in the past.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And also the New York Police Department, the 28th precinct, we have to give them a shout out because they have worked with us and been very understanding and patient with us, and giving us what we need to make the parade happen as well as the festival. So we appreciate the working with us. You know, we had a good working relationship. And I could go on, but I
Okay.
guess I better stop.
Okay, well, I thank you for that. I also saw in the past, I believe, Jerome Hunter of the Rock Bay Dance and
Oh, yes.
No doubt
Yes.
about it.
a whole
That's
other
No doubt
list
about it.
of
Thank you.
people. Michael Gardner.
Michael Gardner from the
Yeah.
MTA. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Grand
And the
Marshal.
name struck out for me, Dr. George Shelby White.
Oh, you
Yeah.
know him. He's my dentist.
Okay, okay.
We sponsored him. We
Okay, well, I
we
have
gotta
to
give
try
this
to
guy-
coordinate because good dental health is very important.
Yes.
So
yes.
thank you for sharing that. Okay, so this has been a great interview. It's been informative. Juneteenth, you heard it first on Harlem Network News, and we are very grateful and honored, and we always find out more. So, Brother Ade Rasul, if you would just close us out. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out. It's very important that I give a shout out to our Senator Cordell Clear.
Mhm.
She is amazing. I mean, she grew up right around the corner from our mosque. Strong, very good leader, Christian woman, and she always tell everybody that Malcolm Shabazz is her mosque. And recently, she invited us up to it's historical first. She invited us up to the to Albany, the state capital,
Beautiful.
and to the Senate. She invited us up there. Imam Muziku Impasha from our mosque, our
Right.
Masjid, he did the invocation.
Beautiful.
We didn't even know that he was going to do the invocation because we came up there because she put a proclamation. She gave us a proclamation on the floor, and the
Wonderful.
actual Senate, New York State Senate, they all stood up and applauded us
Okay.
while we was there for our 29 years of service.
Mhm.
And it was her leadership that made that happen. And we
Right.
want to thank her. And, you know, just a hint to our audience, you know, our election year is coming up.
Yes.
Let's make sure that we vote for the best.
Okay.
I'll leave on that note.
Thank you for that. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for sharing that because that was one of my, we're going to, focus on that. But we know the primaries are coming up in June, and I think they're coming up in August again. So it's really important that our communities become involved, know who's running. I know that, Sister Cordell Claire is running again in the primary. So it's really important that we all know what's happening because these local elections, our community turns out, when it's president time, but the local elections really determine what's going to happen. The
Right.
reason we had ranked choice, and New York, unfortunately, has the poorest voting turnout of anywhere. You know, other places people are talking about voter suppression, and we don't have that. It's probably a psychological voter suppression that's happening, you know, and a lack of information voter suppression that's happening. But we got ranked choice voting because only, and it's not only Harlem or the people of color, you know, this is the turnout in New York City in general. When we got ranked choice voting, only 17% of the people voted, and that's how it happened, you know, and then they wonder why. So, you know, we have to, you know, get active. And as you said, in the spirit of Juneteenth and our ancestors, we have to take it by the bootstraps and make it happen. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is
Thank
Harlem
you.
Network News, and you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Clubhouse, HarlemNetworkNews.com. And if you have stories, please reach out to us at HarlemNetworkNews@gmail.com. And of course, donations are definitely welcome because that's how we can do this work. So thank you so much.
Terry, can we leave
Thank
them with a
you.
phone number and an email address so they can get in touch with us?
Yes.
They can call us at 212-662-2200, 212-662-2200. And we also have a email address that I like to share if I can. It's
Please.
It's Juneteenth Celebration NYC@gmail.com. Juneteenth Celebration NYC@gmail.com. And they can also join our website. And that's www.juneteenthcelebrationnyc.org. www.juneteenthcelebrationnyc.org. Thank you so much, Terry.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And powerful Juneteenth to everyone. And we look forward to your event on Saturday and look for all the other Juneteenth events. It's a great day in Harlem as it is every day.
Yes, it is.
So thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. And we'll be airing at 7:30. And then again on Sunday, Monday, we're going to keep it going. So thank you so much. And we'll
Thank
share.
you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
You too.